the provision in 1442, which you've already read, and at the risk of being repetitive, I would go over. The other Supreme Court justices shall be appointed by the President, acting on the advice of Judicial Council, in consultation with the Council of State, and with the approval of Parliament. How do you place on the advice of the Judicial Council? Is it the case that they will nominate for final appointment, as was contained in the decision of the Supreme Court in the matter of Ghana Bar Association against the Attorney General, when my Lord Mafusao, my Lord Apau, and my Lord Puaman were eventually appointed out of the 4 recommendations made to the presidency, and in a certain order. And the Ghana Bar Association took issue with the presidency that, look, Judicial Council made a certain recommendation in an order of merit. And it was Mensah Bonsu, Mafusao, Apau, and Puaman. But the president took from the bottom 2. How do you reconcile all these scenarios within the context of, upon the advice of the Judicial Council? What is the function of the Judicial Council in this whole process, in your view?
So thank you, my Lord, from all that you have said, what really is the question? The functions of the Judicial Council in appointment of judges, is that it? No, Minority Leader. Is that the question?
You talk about the case.
Yes.
So I can talk about it.
Very well. Proceed to answer.
Honorable Chair, I knew about the case because at that time I was the president for Association of Magistrates and Judges of Ghana. So I know much about that case. What happened in that case is that the president brought 7 names to be considered. Then Judicial Council added 2 names. Then the bar brought 2 names. And the Judicial Council conducted interview. And at the end of the day, they concluded that their nominees had been number 1 and number 2. And the one brought by the president, 3 and 4, and the others have failed. Then the president said, once he has gotten Justice Apau and Puaman out of them, he will throw them because he has not nominated them. The law says he should nominate. So, Nena Megache, then Nena Megache, now Justice Nena Megache, Justice Amenuvo, and Mr. Frank Bicham, they brought an action against the Attorney General. And the Supreme Court, the majority decision by Justice Atuguba.
I was part of the case. It wasn't majority, it was unanimous.
Yes. What Justice Atuguba said was that, leading the lead opinion of the court, what he said was that every nomination must be endorsed by the president or must stem from the president. So this one, once it was not made by the president, it does not bind the president. That was the Supreme Court decision, which binds everybody. Thank you.
My Lord, I do not want to have a disagreement with you on this, but maybe sometime we may have to refresh our memory. I was involved in that case because our case was consolidated, because at the time I was counsel for a plaintiff who was challenging the appointment to the EC. So we had a consolidated case. I respectfully, and I do so in all modesty, the government of that had made a recommendation of all 4 to the president.
Honorable Minority Leader, sorry to interject. The rules are clear. When questions and asks and answer provided, you do not argue, you don't offer an opinion, and you don't address. So please, ask another question.
Chairman, let's make this exercise as interesting as possible. Let us help shape the public discourse in a very coherent manner. All that you said is not what I am doing. My Lord has stated a view on a judgment that as a lawyer I really was part of. If I am seeking to clarify, I've not gone out of the rules. Please, you must also, please, respectfully, pay attention to my line of discourse so that you don't hurriedly rule me out of order or say I am saying something different. I am making
ask your clarification.
Sure, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yes, ask clarification question.
Honorable Bed, please. Bid, you've had your time. Bid, please don't do that.
You are entitled to ask a question
the chair is directing affairs. Please stay.
Honourable members.
Stop.
You are entitled to ask a question to clarify.
You don't have a better personal relationship with my Lord than I. Stop it.
The comment.
He knows me.
The argument. The sharing of opinion is what the rule says we cannot do regarding questions.
One is entitled to provide clarity. It also helps the discourse. My Lord, like I said earlier, the government of that decision was to the effect that to the extent that the Judicial Council had made a recommendation of all four, it doesn't matter the order of merit. It doesn't matter the order of merit. The president could choose the four, whether from the bottom, in the middle, or whatever. That is it. And I remember the end phrase of my Lord the Tuguba was that mutatis mutandis, the case is dismissed. And we all laughed loudly in court, and then we walked away and thanked the bench. Now, to the scenarios I've given, I want to know from you specifically, what is the opinion you have on the phrase, the president acting on the advice of the Judicial Council? The context of this phrase in the vision. What meaning do you give to this?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, for Ghana, as I said, that is the decision that has been rendered by the Justice Atuguba. I remember your case, but because it was consolidation, each of them maintained their identity. So now if you read, you will still say that it is different from yours because it was consolidation. And in the judgment, you read them independently, the conclusion. Now, this is how Ghana has construed it. We have the same provision in Sierra Leone. But the Sierra Leone one, the same provision, word for word, they are saying that the Judicial Council, which has the Attorney General, may liaise with other stakeholders and come out with names to be considered by the President. That is for Sierra Leone. But Ghana, this is the interpretation that we have given, and it is binding on me. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Yes, you have the floor.
My Lord, I want us to deal with statutory construction and executive discretion. You had earlier on talked about enactments providing some penalties. Someone was asking you about social media and all, and the press freedom. And you made it clear that some of the enactment on communication law, electronic communication makes provision for some penalties that criminalizes it, although it's still seen in the context of free speech, but it has criminalized it. Now, this one, I'm relating it to the Minerals and Mining Act and our Immigration Act. Now, when laws provide both criminal penalties and deportation powers for the same conduct, which of them would take constitutional precedence? Can the executive choose administrative remedies over legislatively prescribed criminal sanctions? In the case of a foreigner, that we will not prosecute, but we are going to exercise administrative discretion of deportation.
Honorable Chair, I don't know the context, so I will be at large. What I will say is that where the law prescribes that if the person is convicted,
then let me limit you to help. Let me give you the specifics so that you don't have to spend a whole period. Does that work with you? Very well. So, my lord, on this issue of illegal mining, we have citizens of Ghana who are caught, arrested, and they face prosecution. Government announced that for foreigners, they will invoke their executive. What I want to know from you is that, in view of the law criminalizing the action, the conduct, can there be an administrative remedy over a legislatively prescribed criminal sanction? Can that take precedence over the criminal sanction provided for by the law merely because the person is a foreigner?
No, Honorable, but Honorable, the thing about the thing about criminal law is that the state exercises eminent power, because the state may decide, that even enter no prosecutor, don't do this. So that power, even though it may not be palatable, it may not be acceptable, once the executive has the power to control criminal proceedings, it may do it.
My lord, do you think, from what you've just said, would you want to suggest to us that there are constitutional limits on prosecutorial discretion when statutory criminal penalties are mandatory rather than executive discretionary powers being exercised? Is that a suggestion?
Honorable Chair, what I'm saying is that the power to prosecute is vested in the Attorney General. Attorney General may decide to prosecute or not to prosecute. Somebody may be a thief. The person might have been seen holding something, but the Attorney General says, I will not prosecute you. You cannot compare Attorney General to prosecute. That is what I'm saying. But I'm not saying that whenever there is a conflict, that is how it should be resolved. If there is conflict in the law, that's why I am a legal interpreter. I can resolve it. Thank you.
Yeah, so, my lord, the mainstay of my question, and I believe a lot of Ghanaians are concerned that we are caught in the act of illegal mining because I'm a citizen.
And what you've just been listening there is the vetting of Sir Dennis J, one of the nominees to the Supreme Court, being questioned right now by the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Marking. And there's a lot that we will be bringing you. For those of you who missed the first part of the day when the vetting of another Supreme Court judge was the basis for the haggling between the minority leader and the chair of the appointments committee, where the minority and majority leaders took on each other over the justification for nominating 7 judges to the Supreme Court. At the time, Chief Justice is suspended and being investigated for alleged judicial breaches. We'll have the details for you as Alexander Nathaniel Marking accuses government of institutional capture and constitutional crisis.
An executive that suspends 1 chief justice while installing 7 new justices is not filling vacancies.
But also tonight, we will hear from wife of embattled former finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta following his successful 4-hour-long prostate cancer surgery in Minnesota, USA. We have the very latest for you. You want to stay with us for that. We'll return to Parliament, and so when this particular verdict wraps up, we'll get you reactions to what Justice Dennis J has been saying to the Appointments Committee. But for now, though, former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is recovering from prostate cancer surgery he underwent last Friday at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, USA. In the last few hours, the wife of the embattled former finance minister, who is currently the subject of an Interpol red notice, has issued a statement providing details of the procedure. My colleague, Kojo Brace, joins me in the studio with more on this. Kojo, what do we know from this particular statement?
So we do know that the former finance minister has undergone the scheduled robotic assisted radical prostatectomy. This was to deal with what we understand is prostate cancer, and it was done at the Mayo Clinic, as you just said. Now, she says the procedure took 4+ hours, which is more than 4 hours to go about. Now, according to what we're learning, the doctors are pleased with how the procedure went and will now place him on a post-operative regime. We also do know that he is doing well, but the wife says this has been very difficult for him because the OSP chose that period just before his surgery to declare him on red alert. She says Kenneth is bearing up well and focused on doing whatever he can to restore to good health. But then she concluded by saying that the family is truly grateful to the support and prayers of many people and pastors.
Bruce, thank you very much. Thankfully, we can speak to Professor Mrs. Angela Ofori-Atta, who's the wife of embattled former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, and she joins us right now via Zoom. I'm grateful that you could join us, Professor Ofori-Atta, here on Newsnight. How is Ken Ofori-Atta tonight?
He's doing very well, thank you. He's a real trooper and has and is just sort of going through the steps of recovery which the doctors expected. And so we're very pleased that this is happening, that he's going through well.
You say this surgery lasted 4 hours. The doctors, what have they told you about his recovery?
4+ hours. We know that he has quite a bit of pain. We know that he has to walk gingerly, as it were. And we know that we have to make sure that his wounds don't get infected. So those are just sort of the things that one has to go through when one has surgery.
Have they told you how long they expect his recovery to last?
I think that they're expecting that, he'll be much improved after a while when the wounds heal. Then there will be a period of about 3 months when there's observation going to happen. And hopefully after 3 months, the recovery will be complete. And that's if all goes well.
Office of the Special Prosecutors, one of his main grievances with Ken Ofori-Atta was that initially in the early part of the year when he had wanted him, he had indicated that he was going to have a surgery earlier in the year. That didn't happen. Can you explain to us how come that earlier surgery was then shifted to last Friday? What happened there?
I'm afraid you have your facts wrong, sir. The message, the communication with the special prosecutor was that there would be a biopsy in March, which is a procedure to determine to determine if there is cancer in the prostate. And that happened in March. And then after that, there were tests on the sample taken, and then it was clear that there was cancer in the prostate. And then the surgery was scheduled for June 13th.
I'm pretty sure you followed the OSP's latest press conference. When initially Ofori-Atta's lawyers wrote to him asking for more time, for which reason he withdrew the earlier wanted notice, what was the reason for the request that that be rescheduled?
I'm sorry, I'm not getting the question.
Initially, the OSP declared him wanted. You remember that?
Oh, was it in February when he
Yes,
was
in February.
the first time? Yes.
And you had requested that they take it down because you were ready to return in June after you had gone through that procedure. Remember that?
You know, this is a tough question for me to answer because the very first time we gave the OSP, we had first told the OSP that we would be, we were in the US, we were doing investigations, and therefore we would not be available on the first date he gave us. We had told him that. But he wanted a date by which we should be there to see him. And so, knowing that we would have to do a biopsy, we gave him the possible dates after which Ken would have recovered from the biopsy and we would come. But we always knew that if the results of the biopsy were not good, then he would have to undergo surgery as quickly as possible. So that's what happened. We've got the results of the biopsy. We talked to the doctors about the next steps, and then we got in touch with the OSP. So that is what happened. It wasn't an attempt to keep moving it.
So I have here in front of me the initial letter from the Mayo Clinic dated February 7, 2025, which is titled "To Whom It May Concern." And it says, "Hello, dear sir, madam." And it says, "Mr. Kenneth Ofori-Atta has been seen and evaluated in Mayo Clinic in Rochester. His medical condition necessitates that he will stay and follow up on his appointments and undergoing further testing and management, including possible surgical intervention in March of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Did that surgery happen? And how come that surgery was then rescheduled to last Friday? That was my initial question.
Yes, that happened. That was the biopsy. The biopsy is a surgical procedure. And so that's what I just said to you or shared with you. So there was a surgical procedure called a biopsy in March, in which the reason was to get some samples, test, and know exactly what was happening. And then surgery was scheduled.
Now that we have clarity on that, back to the OSP point. OSP says that he agreed to pull down the wanted notice because of this, and that when this then was rescheduled, he wasn't told directly. Well, what do you say to that? Because that's his point, that if he had been told and the medical report shared with him, the outcome may have been different?
You know, I don't really want to get into the legalities of it. I do know that he was told through the, first of all, our lawyers worked it out through the court system. So he received the document. And we do know also that they were willing to share with him all of that information. They didn't want to put it all out publicly because those were Ken's health records. And so they asked him if they could come to his office and share that information with them. So that's what I know about the matter. It was in our interest to let him know.
Fundamentally, the picture has been painted, and in fact, the OSP had said that he is convinced that Ofori-Atta simply does not want to come and face accountability. He's made the point that he is not incapacitated to come and answer the questions. In March, it was a biopsy, and on the face of the Mayo Clinic letter I read that mentioned surgical procedure, he says, but a biopsy should not incapacitate you. Is he right to conclude that that is a fair basis to say that he, Ken Ofori-Atta, your husband, is simply running away from facing justice?
The Ken that we all know does not run away from accountability. We know that through the censure, he talked in the public about his work. We know that he has been to Shraj, talked about his work. This is not a Ken who runs away from accountability. So no, I ask the public to remember when they've heard him speak, he has not shied away from facing up to issues. It's amazing that we've had to deal with cancer in the last year, that this is the process by which we have hopefully ensured that it doesn't spread. If I were to make the choice, I would make it again. I don't know any wife or any family that would send their loved one to respond to a special prosecutor when they're battling with cancer. So I'm sorry, but these are the things, this is what we have to face. We have to get him well. And even through this very stressful time, he has always said, let me respond to you by video. It's allowed. Let me do that for you so that I'm not the cause of you delaying your investigation. He said that. He's also said, okay, you can ask my lawyers the questions you want to ask me, and we will respond. Whatever information we can give you, we will. So I just don't understand what's going on there.
A few circles we need to square here. In February, when the wanted notice was first issued for him, and you wrote for that to be pulled down, as I've gone over that again, you could not have possibly known at the time that he had cancer. So why didn't he just agree to come before the OSP at the time?
We were here in the States because of the cancer.
But the Mayo Clinic letter just read said at the time you were now about to perform what the Mayo Clinic said, possible surgical intervention in March. You've just explained that when they said that, it meant the biopsy. So you couldn't have known at the time, correct?
No, last year we knew that Ken possibly had cancer. So we came, we saw the urologist, we began the process. And they were quite clear that, this was a slow growing one. That's what they thought. And so we came back home quite happy. And then in December, the tests in Ghana revealed otherwise. And so we rushed back and began that process.
So the test in Ghana said otherwise, as in confirmed that he didn't have cancer, or did?
Yes, the PSA levels were high.
So you had gone to the US to, of course, run the biopsy, which will put it beyond doubt.
No,
that
no, no,
that
hang
is
on.
what it
Please
is.
let me, hang on. We came to the US last year. We realized that the PSA levels were going up last year in August. And then, the clinic said, okay, we'll just we're going to watch this, come back in a few months. Well, in a few months, the PSA had gone quite high. And so we came back. We came back in January and we informed the chiefs of staff, the former chief of staff and the current chief of staff about it. And then we came and did the tests in January. And they're like, okay, this is growing faster than we thought. But we will do the biopsy in March because of the timing. We'll do it in March. And so that's when we got that letter from the Mayo Clinic to say, stay, do your biopsy in March.
Could he have come, take and answer the questions and gone back?
Would you, if you had cancer, would you leave it and go and meet an investigation when you're not 100% yourself? Do you understand the impact of cancer on a person's feelings, emotions, psychology?
As it is now, the Interpol Red Notice is still active. How is he dealing? How are you? How is the family, yourself, and Foria? How are you dealing with that? Because there's a possibility now. Last week, the Deputy Attorney General confirmed that they've triggered the processes to formally ask for the USA to cooperate with us in extraditing him back to Ghana. How are you dealing with that? That there's a possibility that any time, if that process goes through, he may be a subject of detention and possibly repatriation, extradition to Ghana.
Well, I don't know that any country would extradite someone who's not well. And so I don't know. I know that when he is well and at the appropriate time, we will come. But our lawyers are dealing with the notice. I myself, as the wife of a man who's not been well, I myself don't understand how a prosecutor would do a red alert or cause a red alert to be done over someone who's constantly told you where he is, constantly told you what he's dealing with. So that for me, that is something that I don't understand, and I would like to focus on how we are managing all of that, how he's coping, and how we can surround him with love and prayers, and get him to feel to get better.
I mean, about how he's feeling, how he's coping. Having a red notice issued for you it's no child's play. How is he coping with that? The fact that the entire world, this has been reported on almost every international wire, the Bloombergs, the BBCs. How is he, considering also that he's just had surgery, how is he coping with that?
He's coping with it the same way we've always done through all of the tribulations, with God in the picture, but just faith and love surrounded by his family. It's just knowing that the Lord will do something with this. We don't know what, but we have faith. Because you're right, it's a difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing.
And the children?
They've got good heads on their shoulders, and they've got faith as well. So it's a lot of thinking, prayer, and just knowing that there will be a light at the end of the tunnel.
When you use that figurative language, what does that look like for you in reality, light at the end of the tunnel?
It's a good question. I'm kind of living day by day, making sure that my husband, gets over this, the physical illness and the emotional trauma. So that's what I'm dealing with. And I think for me, that's the first light at the end of the tunnel. The second light at the end of the tunnel is, of course, it's justice. It has to be justice. And right now, I'm just living day to day, making sure that he's better. But when I look at, I want to see the light at the tunnel. I also want to thank the people who are standing with us in prayer, the people who love us, the people we love, and prominent pastors praying with us, calling us. Sharing in Krang, as we say in Tree, giving us hope.
Will Ken Ofori-Atta return to Ghana to answer the questions that the OSP wants to ask him, and when?
As soon as we know when, we promise to let you know.
But can you also say
he is ready
today that when he gets well, he will certainly return to Ghana and answer the questions?
The questions he can answer in a week or two. You send him the questions to his lawyers, he can answer. You set up a video meeting in a week or two, he will be able to answer. He will not do anything to interfere or prolong the investigation. And Ghana is home. I don't think there is any other home but Ghana. I know Ghana is home. So why are we holding back on the investigation? Why will he not give the video?
The special prosecutor says they have a warrant to arrest him.
I'm not going to speak to the special prosecutor's issues. I just want people to know that Ken's been through the surgery. He is doing well. And when he is able to, and his doctors give him the go ahead, of course, at the appropriate time, he will come. But why are we keeping the investigation not going on? Why?
You just made the point that at the appropriate time, he will come. Is that a firm yes, that when he gets better, he will come and answer the questions physically himself here in Ghana?
Ghana is home. Ghana is home.
In your previous statement, you use words like vendetta. You believe the OSP has one against your husband?
Evans, I don't want to talk about that. I think all I want to say is there's so much I don't understand about this process. And I want to thank people for standing with us. And Ghana, I just want to leave you with the understanding that Ghana is home. And when their time is right, he can come.
Does he accept, though, that this is simply facing accountability for the time that he was a finance minister? Does he actually accept that? That this is the OSP trying to do his job to hold him accountable?
No, I don't agree with you on that, because the man has been held accountable even during the time he was in government. He went on a censure that didn't go through, but he answered these questions in Parliament, many of them already in Parliament. And you know that, you saw that. You saw that at Shraj as well. Shraj has gone through all of those. And so he has never not been accountable when asked. Okay. So I have to say that we have a great resource in the lawyers, and these questions you can ask the lawyers. But for now, I just want to thank you for this space.
I'm grateful that you spent time with us. And that there is the wife of Ken Ofori-Atta, Professor Mrs. Angela Ofori-Atta, who is with the Ken Ofori-Atta in the US. As you've heard, he is recovering now after the surgery on Friday. Make of that what you will. And George Affe is here with business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans, and coming up in business, some major oil marketing companies have actually started reducing the prices of petroleum products at the pumps, and also the Institute of Economic Affairs urges government to suspend processes aimed at extending the licenses of Jubilee operator Talu to 2036. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Condom books and stationery, Synthesis tanks, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
It's your day off and you end up looking after the baby while your wife goes off to work. You realize you have no idea how to change a diaper, so you video call your wife.
Hello, darling.
Yeah, hello.
Kojo, is everything all right?
Everything is not all right. I'm not seeing Topo. How do I change a baby's diaper, please?
Kojo. Okay, first, put the diaper.
The video call freezes. While you wait for the internet to catch up, the baby sprouts a fountain and wets the diaper. As you are getting a new one, your wife comes back online.
Kojo, no.
But I had to go and get a new diaper. What must I do next? I beg, quick.
Open the front of the diaper. It's the side that has...
Wow, look, the video freezes again. Abba.
By now, you know where the conversation is going. There's no buffering in real life, so why accept it from your internet connection? Get connected and experience ultra-fast internet to your home, powered by MTN Fiber Broadband. From the Internet Masters.
MTN, everywhere you go.
M&C Group is a leading investment holding company with expertise in minerals and food commodity trading, precious minerals refinery, real estate development, and logistics and energy. With individually registered companies, our headquarters is located in Accra, Ghana, with operational offices in Dubai, UAE, Hong Kong, and Guangzhou in China, Johannesburg in South Africa, Virginia in the USA, and Milan, Italy. We connect business markets and drive growth. Trust us to maximize value in every deal. Call us on 0302 551 917 or 0302 551 918, or send us an email mncgroup@mncgroupgh.com. MNC Group, totally reliant.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks, and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom. Kingdom. And my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST Campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Brush your teeth every day and night. Up and down and all around. Brush like feeling bright. Brush your teeth. Brush with mom and dad. Underneath and in between. Brush the germs away.
Pepsodent, cavity protection.
This
advert is FDA approved.
Hey, dear Niham Sa. Stay soft concentrate fabric softener. I was such it move. Just send it this way. You might now watch it. New it's now watch it. No, be a baby, someone some demoni in us say. Dear Niham say. Fair quiet, yes, in Biara Association Ontario. Use Stay Soft and Niham it's now watch it. Nani boss to tap from cry. A fabric softener. A year near say, sir. Choose to Stay Soft. No, so say, you know. FDID a dreading crack to yatu.
Sasso, come and tonton preco. Sasso, come and tonton preco. Edrana drumming every session. Yeah, how can see our name malaria? Minya me corn and miss a so spray. Every mosquito starting run away. Come on, tonton preco. Sasso, mi se come tonton preco. Come tonton preco. Sasso, come tonton preco. Nani sham ne die e demonstranko.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, some oil marketing companies have actually started reducing prices of petroleum products at the pumps in line with market projections. Now, market leaders Star Oil, Shell, and Allied have all reduced their prices at the various service stations in the country. The following Business Desk report has more. Selling a litre of petrol at 10 Ghana cedis, 99 pesos, at some of its service stations across the country. However, it has kept the price of diesel unchanged and is going for 12 Ghana cedis, 49 pesos per litre. But there are strong indications that there could be further reductions at the pumps for this oil marketing company in the coming days. Another major player in the industry, Shell, has dropped prices at the pumps, selling a litre of petrol at 11 Ghana cedis, 98 pesos. However, diesel is going for 12 Ghana cedis, 85 pesos. Some of the oil marketing companies have told Joy Business that they will carry out necessary adjustments before the close of work today. Oil marketing firm Allied has also reduced prices at the pumps, selling a litre of petrol at 10 Ghana cedis, 97 pesos. Diesel has been reduced from 12 Ghana cedis, 75 pesos to 12 Ghana cedis, 45 pesos. According to the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, the reduction in prices was influenced by the cedi's continuous appreciation against the US dollar, government's decision to freeze the implementation of the 1 Ghana cedi on every litre of fuel at the pumps from today. Meanwhile, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies are warning that prices could be going up from July 1. That is, if the current spike in prices due to development in the Middle East doesn't end anytime soon. Dr. Everson Upon is Chief Executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies.
So I realized that for this very week, we're going to have a very cool price, or let me say cool prices at the pump price level. because we're going to sell old stocks that has been bought at a price, or probably people who have locked in products and paid for it already, or might have signed some commercial agreement. So we should not expect the hike effect on the pump price this week. But most likely, the second part of the second window in June, things might change because of the war, and this has nothing to do with the cedi appreciation.
And that is Dr. Rivison Upon. He is the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. Now, some interesting development on the international market is that crude oil prices has declined marginally from the around $77 a barrel to somewhere around $74 a barrel due to developments that Saudi Arabia could come in and meet up the shortfall if Iran can no longer supply the market, and also the fact that the recent bombing that hit some refinery in Iran actually wasn't those refineries that are supplying the international market. Let's still stay on the sector, because the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers has urged government to urgently restock more crude oil in light of the escalating tensions between Israel and Iran. Now, the association believes that this strategic move would help cushion consumers from the potential price hikes and minimize the impact on the economy. Dr. Duncan Amoy is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber.
Your only safeguard measure or mitigating measure is to ensure that you have enough refining capacity. You are probably storing or buying crude for the refineries. You are also empowering an institution like BOST to buy products and store, because if you don't have any strategic stock and you simply continue to be a price taker, as we have been over the period, whatever happens internationally or geopolitically, you would simply pay for it down here. And I don't think that we should wait any longer. The time to store should be now. The time to also boost our refining capacity. We should contemplate those things. If government would need to find some additional investment to be able to bring these institutions to their optimal levels, I think that we should be able to do that. Otherwise, like has been indicated, geopolitical factors would almost always mess up your economic plan.
Duncan Amoy is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. And before we go, the Institute of Economic Affairs is asking government to suspend processes leading to the extension of the licenses for the Jubilee operator, that is Tullow Oil. Now, this follows the announcement by Tullow Oil, together with other operators, that it has secured memorandum of understanding with government aimed at extending their licenses to operate on the Jubilee and the Chinebwa Nyara Ntomefe. But in a statement issued today, the Institute noted that given the petroleum is an asset, national asset, any extension or extraction must be preceded by a comprehensive and a strategic review. The statement went ahead to argue that restructuring an existing agreement is to ensure that it aligns with Ghana's long-term developmental goals for the country, and the need by government, or the move by government, to reset the sector is indeed long overdue. That was in a statement issued by the Institute of Economic Affairs on this move by Tullow Oil. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
And thank you very much, George. Let's do sports now, and Cranton is here with the latest.
Let's go straight into our stories. And former unified lightweight welterweight champion Amir Khan says he's eager to return to Ghana for another major boxing event after experiencing the country's unmatched passion for the sport. Khan was in Accra as a partner of Sharaf Mohammed's Rise Legacy Promotions for the Battle of the Beast boxing night held last Friday. The event, which showcased rising talent through a huge crowd, clear evidence, according to Khan, that Ghana is ready for more world-class boxing nights.
On board, we get some good support, which I believe now people will believe us now.
Yeah.
We will do many more events, and I really think the next one has to be around November, December time. I think we do a big event to close off the year, and I really believe, I don't know what you think, this time it has to be in a stadium.
Yeah.
Because
the Legon Stadium is not too far from here.
Yeah, and not only that, why I'm saying this is because we had the whole inside full.
Yeah.
And guess what? There was like 2,000-3,000 people outside as well.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad for them.
Yeah.
They're telling me, Amir, we want to come inside, and we said, it's health and safety as well,
Yeah.
But it just shows the interest in Ghana.
That was former unified light welterweight champion Amir Khan speaking there, bringing us into sports. Back to you, Evans.
Thank you very much, Kranting. Well, he once imagined a peaceful retirement after over 40 years of hard work around the world as a marine engineer. His dream was to settle down and live off his investments in agriculture and snail farming in Mepe along the Volta River in the North Tong district. But the Akosomo Dam spillage struck, resulting in the loss of his 1.8 million cedi investment. In our feature series, After the Floods, Fred Kwame Asari visited Godson Clodge's farm and reports.
Godson Hlonji poured his life savings, close to 1.8 million Ghana cedis, into building thriving snail and aquaculture farms along 2 different locations by the river. Just as the business began to flourish, tragedy came in form of floods caused by the Akosombo Dam spillage between October 10 and 15, 2023. In a matter of days, years of planning and hard work were washed away, leaving him devastated.
This is my first fish pond, measuring 35 feet by 75 feet by 5 feet deep. And it contains 10,000 catfishes. And this is the first place. This is the first pond. We are yet to go to the second pond. And this is my snail pens. I lost almost about 1.5 to 1.8 million Ghana cedis.
Godson Hlonji is among the many victims who lost everything to the flooding. Despite this heavy blow, he has refused to give up entirely. With support from an NGO, he gathered enough resources to start over, switching to okra farming on a 5-acre plot of land.
Even this, it was from NGO who came to Togbe Makralo, the house, and they gave me 4 bottles of okra. Before I was able to plant, they gave me 1 cutlass, 1 hoe with 100 Ghana cedis. It's the one that I struggle with it.
However, the challenges keep mounting. After installing irrigation systems to sustain his crops, the region was hit by a drought. Without sufficient funds to power the machines needed to water his crops, his new farm is withering right before his eyes.
Now I'm staying like a cripple, no money. Not that I'm having pumping machines, 3 or 4 in my room right now. But no money to buy fuel, to power the machine, to pump water for this my farm.
Many others, like Godson, are grappling with this harsh reality. The chief of Bakpa, Togbe Sakpiti, and his business partners also lost their investments to the same floods.
For myself, I have invested more than 60,000 into it. And unfortunately, they are about to be harvested when the thing happened. So it wasn't good at all. And the joint one, we have invested a lot of money. If not because of your time, like I should have taken you where the cages were at this particular moment. It's terrible.
Countless others who had invested millions of Ghana cedis in their businesses now find themselves with nothing. Sadly, many of these victims are yet to receive compensation for their losses, despite their desperate plea to the government and the Volta River Authority. For now, Godson and others like him continue to wait, hoping that help will come soon so they can begin rebuilding their lives and businesses. From Mepe in the North Town District, my name is Fred Kwame Asari for Joy News.
That's it for News Night tonight. You want to join the vetting live? It's on the Joy News channel and across many social media platforms. Currently, Justice Simon Subare is currently being vetted before the Appointments Committee. If you really want to follow that, please go onto our many social media platforms. Simply watch us live on the Joy News channel. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Small money